Hello, Duarte. Welcome back to a second look. 7,000 athletes, 3,000 coaches from 177 countries coming to Los Angeles this summer. What could it all be about? Well, we're going to talk about that tonight. I have two very revved up guests here. Liz Reilly, our council member, whom you know, and special guest Wendy Matthes, whose title is, I better get this right, Director of the host town Special Olympics World Games. Special Olympics are coming to LA. This is big news. Wendy, tell us what you know, which is a lot.
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you very much for including me this evening. We're very, very excited that Duarte is going to play a role in the upcoming World Games this coming July. For those of you who are familiar with Special Olympics, or perhaps even more intimately with Southern California Special Olympics, the Special Olympics World Games are the flagship of Special Olympics International. The games take place every 2 years. There are summer games and winter games. And at the last Summer Games, Los Angeles was given the bid to host the games starting this coming July. So, as you mentioned, there'll be 7,000 athletes, 3,000 coaches from 177 countries around the world. Just by way of perspective, when the 84 games were here, there were not that many countries. There were actually only about 150. Right. So this is actually the largest event ever hosted in Los Angeles.
I got that from Liz last time we talked. The biggest sporting event going on in North America, apparently, this summer.
The world, actually.
Really,
yeah.
The world.
Right.
All right. So how does Duarte get involved in this? I guess, Liz, you're part of that.
Thank you, and thank you for having us. In February or March of last year, 2014, I was mayor and I attended a Contract Cities conference. At the conference, there was a presentation from the Special Olympics. And I thought, what a wonderful idea, what an opportunity to be able to be a host town. So I turned to Councilman Sam Kang, who happens to be an alumni from Azusa Pacific. Because one of the things I feel that we would need in order to have Special Olympics here in Duarte is accommodations. We don't have a hotel that would be large enough, and we don't have a school that would have a dormitory. So we're very grateful to Azusa Pacific for agreeing to have the accommodations and to have the athletes and the coaches stay there.
Very, very timely. APU, Azusa
yes.
Pacific University.
Right.
Great sporting university, actually. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So that worked out. So
that worked out very well.
Glendora is involved where I work?
Glendora, Azusa, and Duarte are actually sharing the host town activities. Azusa Pacific is in, after all, the university is in Azusa, and so all of us, the three of us, are included together and we're sharing.
Really impressed with the point you made that this is bigger than the 1984 Reagan Olympics, as I call them,
Right.
Morning in America, 1984, great, successful games, and yet this is actually bigger.
There are more countries coming.
177 countries.
Correct.
And you actually mentioned, we use the phrase, some people might wonder about it, intellectual disabilities. You explained that these are athletes, but not so much physically challenged.
Correct.
Maybe you could explain.
A lot of people probably are not aware that there are over 200 million people worldwide affected by intellectual disabilities. The athletes that will be traveling to Los Angeles in July are, their coaches obviously do not have these disabilities, but the athletes themselves do. Definition of someone with an intellectual disability is not a physical disability, but intellectual, and manifests itself relatively young in life, and is usually characterized by somebody with an IQ of about 75 or less.
Right.
But these are well-abled athletes that have been trained in their sports. They'll be participating in 25 sports in and around some venues in Los Angeles, primarily SC, UCLA. The LA Convention Center will be hosting badminton, along with a few other. LA Live will be hosting bowling. There will be golf at Griffith Park. There will be equestrian events at the Equestrian Center in Griffith Park. Out in Encino, we'll be hosting soccer. There'll be open water swimming and sailing in Long Beach. So just like the 84 Games, the World Games have tried to strive to utilize existing venues, so nothing needed to be built in order to host these games.
And you were also telling us earlier that there's always Special Olympics going on.
Well, for example, Southern California Special Olympics, which is the local chapter of they call them SOSC, they service approximately 18,000 individuals annually. And they have events that go on throughout the year. Special Olympics International has events, probably 18,000 events that happen around the world year long. So it's not just the World Games.
I assume, I should have asked earlier, this is a non-profit organization,
Correct.
right?
Correct, we are.
Some of the biggest companies in the world are non-profits, I've been learning.
Right.
And all of this from the power of one woman, one person.
Indeed. How Special Olympics got started, it was the brainchild of Eunice Kennedy Shriver. She had a sister by the name of Rosemary, and Rosemary was born with intellectual disabilities. And Eunice really could never understand the injustice of why her sister was treated so differently than others. So she decided to do something about it. So she decided to bring her sister and some of her sister's classmates to her own backyard so that they could participate in sport, because she believed that sport was an equalizer. It treated everyone the same, and everyone deserved that opportunity. That was actually the brainchild of how Special Olympics movement got started. Throughout her life and until she passed, was still very much involved in it. Her family is still very involved in it. Her son, Timothy, is the head of Special Olympics International in Washington, D.C.
1968, it began in Chicago, the city of broad shoulders.
Precisely.
Los Angeles, shoulders are probably just as broad. It's a big, what are some of the most complex things about it?
The logistics, I think, of creating something from the size of what we're going to be doing, along with some of the challenges of language and culture. From bringing in people from all corners of the world. We've been talking about Host Town and what is going to be happening here in Duarte. I actually kind of want to step back a little bit and talk about what Host Town means. Right. Host Town will take place 3 days prior to the opening of the Games. The Games opening ceremony will take place on the 25th of July. On the 21st of July, there are 80 communities in California that will be hosting delegations to come and stay in their town. Towns from everywhere north, from San Luis Obispo down to San Diego, will be hosting delegations of approximately 100 each, for a chance for the athletes to get accustomed to the time change, the weather, and to taste a little bit of the culture of what each community is doing. We have everything from large communities, Santa Barbara, downtown San Diego, to some very small communities like Palm Springs and Solvang are all going to be doing, well, part of the Host Town program. Each host town is responsible for certain things: to find accommodations, which again you talked about, which graciously APU has stepped up to help with, accommodations, feeding, transportation, and to create some type of a cultural event while they're in town to get to know that community, the citizens of that community, and what makes their town unique. So that is actually sort of the definition of what Host Town is. There is no other sporting event in the world that creates a program such as Host Town. It only exists with the World Games.
Well, this may be a good time to play our clip from a website put out by, you must know this group, Special Olympics World Games.
I've heard of them.
I think we've got a very nice clip of 2 minutes that will, I think, get us more excited about what's going on here. So we will roll tape.
The Host Town program is extremely important to the Special Olympics athlete because it gives them an opportunity to come in a couple of days ahead of time and to acclimate to the local culture, to the local climate, to get to know some people, to make some friends, establish some relationships, and be at their best when they're ready to compete on a worldwide scale. Being able to understand better and having the people, the local citizens, understand better about people with intellectual disabilities.
It's a great opportunity for us to have eye-opening to other countries, to explore the nice view of it.
To get an open mind of the world.
Special Olympics is everything that's good and right about sports. It teaches, it entertains, it sells, it motivates. It also happens to be a microcosm of society, both good and bad.
Llegar a los Olímpicos es lo mejor para mí.
Todos los países
Está mirándome, ¿verdad? Para mí, voy a seguir escuchando, seguir para adelante, no vamos a dar nada si no nuestros campeones.
I love the way our athletes compete with such dignity and respect for each other.
Pouco emocionado e tomara fazer boa partida, né? E que nós, Brasil, seja campeão, né?
And I want to win bronze or silver or gold.
The enthusiasm and the pure joy to see them reach their accomplishments and grow in self-confidence in so many ways in life just through the simple power of sports. It's life-changing stuff.
Well, welcome back, Duarte. It's a very timely clip from the Special Olympics World Games host town, and this is what we want to talk about for the rest of our time. We've got Wendy Matthes from the Special Olympics. We've got Liz Reilly. Ladies, what are we going to do? All these people are coming. How do we handle this?
Well, first of all, the one thing we haven't mentioned yet is who's coming to dinner. Who will be your guests when they arrive on the 21st of July? The delegation from South Africa is going to be staying here. And there's a lot of reasons why that is a very good fit. Azusa Pacific University has 2 very large campuses in South Africa, and a lot of their students do semesters abroad and go live in South Africa. So there's a strong connection between the two. So when it came time for us to know which delegations were coming and where they could be staying, we knew that would be a natural fit. So South Africa will be your guests.
And I'm sure that the subject of fundraising must have crossed somebody's mind through all of this. Liz, can you take us into this?
Certainly. April 30th, we are having a fundraiser for the Special Olympics host town. It will be from 5:30 to 7:30 at the community center. We have several eateries from Duarte that will be sampling their goods, as well as some other events planned. It's a way to actually sponsor if somebody's interested in that. The cost of the tickets is $30, $20 of which are going to the Special Olympics, and then $10 to the Service Club. So we're calling it the Service Club Special Olympics, in trying to get just a little bit more interest in being able to come and to join us. But there's also, I'd like to talk a little bit about what our plans are for that particular event. The Special Olympics from South Africa, the team is coming to Duarte specifically July 22nd. They will be arriving the night before, and they will be going to Azusa Pacific on the 21st. Then in the morning, they have training, they need to have breakfast and that kind of thing. Then we will be picking them up by bus, by public transportation from Azusa Pacific, and taking them to City of Hope. So at the City of Hope, we will have lunch, and we will also have a tour of different parts of their facility. The City of Hope is very important to Duarte, and that to us is part of the culture of Duarte. So we want them to see, and they've been very generous. After that, we will be, and while they're at the City of Hope, what we are planning is to have a parade. A parade, we will have citizens on either side of the driveway that will, and the Olympians will be walking up the driveway, and then on either side we will have just a wonderful welcome to them. We'll have flags and balloons and banners, and just to make them feel as welcome as we are. So happy to have them.
I see. Your script here says, be sure to highlight what is unique about your community. Well,
right.
City of Hope.
City of Hope is
they
very
never
unique.
let us down.
No, they sure haven't.
I just can't help but ask, what about food and water, and who and how? Is it APU doing all of this?
No, the City of Hope will be providing lunch.
All right.
When they're there. Then after the tour of the City of Hope, we will be busing the athletes and their coaches to the teen center. And we thought a couple of hours of R&R would be really good. We've got plans to have the teens there, and so that we can kind of mingle with our residents. we are planning to teach them a little hip-hop. We thought hip-hop was very indicative of Southern California and the Teen Center. So we have a wonderful dance instructor that will be doing that.
At the Teen
and
Center.
yes, at the Teen Center. And then towards the evening, we will be having a barbecue. And so with the barbecue, again, we've thought about many different things, but really I think what's indicative of California, again, is hamburgers and hot dogs. And so, and then the Mormon Church, the Church of the Latter-day Saints, will be helping us there in providing the sides for the salads and the different things that we have. After the barbecue, we will be going to the community center. And at the community center, we're planning to have a DJ dance because, again, the DJ is very indicative. You know, that's what we do. Along with that, we will be having groups there, and we'll be also having another thing that we thought was very indicative was Western line dancing, so that when they're at the community center.
All of this on the 22nd of July.
It's going to be a busy day.
It's going to be a busy day, but it's short periods of time.
Should be one of their events to get through the Duarte Day. Duarte Day is July 22nd. And all of this is going to take place?
Right, and we actually, we know they have a curfew. Their curfew is 9 o'clock. They need to be back, and we're planning to finish by 8:30. So at 8:30, we will get them on the buses and off to Azusa Pacific.
Well, it says here that host towns have the opportunity to roll out the red carpet for about 100 athletes. Is this what you're looking at?
Yes. The delegation from South Africa is about 97 at this point in time. We know that number might change slightly between now and July, should an athlete get injured or not be able to make the trip. But the number for each one of the host towns is approximately 100. Some host towns were able to accommodate more athletes, so they received larger delegations. For example, there's one in San Diego who is hosting the delegation from India, and that delegation is almost 400 strong. So it somewhat depends.
Breaks it down. That's what you mentioned before, from San Luis Obispo to San Diego.
Correct.
This is a big event.
It is a huge event, and it's very unique, and I think it's going to give the delegations from around the world a chance to see what life in Southern California is like. Host Town has taken place in other parts of the world in previous World Games and has always been very successful. One of the things that makes this one unique to other World Games host towns is this is the first time that people are not staying in private homes. They are staying in either hotels or dormitories. So that is something that we mandated for our Los Angeles Games, that they were not going to be staying in private homes.
The largest humanitarian and athletic event Los Angeles has seen since the 1984 Olympics, as we mentioned, and I liked in the clip where one of your people mentioned, this is really what sport should be about.
Exactly.
The gentleman
who said that is a gentleman by the name of Bill Schumard, and he is the head of Southern California Special Olympics, and really is sort of the embodiment of really the spirit and the purpose of what SOSC does for the community.
And he works with the local Southern California,
Correct.
but he's transferring over, I guess.
He's actually, we work very closely with Southern California Special Olympics. They are the local chapter, and they are involved very much in our planning. We are certainly hoping that one of the great legacies that will happen from the World Games will benefit Southern California Special Olympics as well. We are partners with them. They are incredible what they do. They will be around, they've been around for a long time, they'll be here long after we are gone. So we're trying to make sure that our legacy is intact for them to enjoy for many, many years to come.
So that's one big date. April 30th is Duarte's first fundraiser, and that's, you said, at the community center?
At the community center, and we certainly involve all residents to come and see.
Is it like a supper time event? Or
it is. It'll be 2 hours.
Duarte,
right.
Post Duarte,
yeah. Exactly.
So that's one big date coming up. The next one is July 22nd. Is there anything else that any of you would like to say? This is your time to plug whatever.
We're asking for volunteers.
Yes, volunteers.
Yes, and you can volunteer for the Special Olympics Games at la2015.org. And one of the things that are available is what they call fans in the stands, in which case you can sign up for that, and then you bring 10 fans in the stands, and then you're able to watch because there is no cost, there's no charge.
I really think you've got a great day planned for them on the 20th. I mean, of course I would say that.
Yeah, and I know it's a full day, but
I know
we're doing little bits. And
we
and
really
I think,
are good at that here
Yeah.
in Duarte, as we celebrate almost every little, we open a post office and we have a ribbon cutting.
But it's what the delegations are hoping to experience. It's why they are coming a few days before the opening of the games, is to have a chance to really experience what life is in Southern California. You know, we keep hearing from all of the delegations, one of the things that they want more than anything from this experience is to get to know the community. You know, they want sort of also for the community to get to know them, to understand the acceptance that the Special Olympics movement is all about. And there is no better way than to have that interface, that one-on-one interaction with the community. And that's the true success of Host Town.
Well, when you think of Southern California, I have to give a plug to Sonic Burger, the girls on the roller skates, if they still do that, right?
Yes.
I mean,
they still do. We have a
still
Sonic
do.
in Duarte.
Yeah,
and they
right, just
exactly.
Here.
Yes.
So that's Wendy. What do you want to say to wind up here?
Well, first of all, you know, all of us at the World Games are so pleased that Duarte has chosen to become part of the Host Town program. We can't do it without the support of the communities, and the incredible outreach that we've gotten from communities all over the state of California has really been very heartwarming. This is going to be an amazing event. It's going to change lives, both for the athletes as well as the people who have a chance to get to know these athletes. I'm proud to be part of this movement, and I'm excited. I can't wait for it to start.
And the dates again are?
Again, the athletes will arrive here on the 21st of July. They will depart on the 24th of July. As they leave here, the athletes will be staying at both USC and at UCLA. The opening ceremonies will take place on the evening of the 25th of July at the LA Coliseum. It will be broadcast around the world on ESPN, broadcast live. The games will then take place for the next 9 days. The closing ceremonies will be on the 2nd of August.
June 25th to August 2nd. July, 25th to August 2nd.
Correct.
And if you want to volunteer, let's have that one again.
It's la2015.org.
It promises to be a great summer. I missed the '84 Olympics. I was still hiding out in Canada, but I think I'm going to make up for it here this summer. Thank you both for coming. It's been very helpful and very inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
No problem.
It's the athletes that are inspiring, though.
Yeah,
to imagine to have to be able to come to a different country and be able to participate, I think is really inspiring.
Well, that's why these film clips are so valuable. There's so much in there. A little boy from Puerto Rico. My whole nation's waiting for me to go.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for helping us in the background, and we will see you next time on A Second Look.